everyone, welcome back to Project Management Hero series. Today's topic is about healthcare IT system and interoperability. So we will be discussing with Ankit Yadav, who is project manager at Mindbowser and worked on various projects related to US healthcare. Did you know lack of interoperability can negatively impact your healthcare delivery? Well, we have solution for that, and we have also discussed about the standards and technology can be used to promote interoperability. So stay tuned till the end and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. So my first question is, in what ways can a lack of interoperability negatively impact healthcare delivery?
So I think there are various ways in which it affects negatively, but I think the most and the core part is fragmented patient care because at the center of core of the healthcare delivery are the patients. So if the interoperability is not handled by any clinician or any healthcare system, so the healthcare practitioners may struggle to access the information of that patient, right? So they do not might not have the latest or updated information about that patient. So what it does that sometimes it could lead to misdiagnosis, duplicate test, and also it affects the decision making of that provider. So if they do not have the latest updated information, it slows down the decision making process for the clinician. And one of the aspect is that on the administrative side, so whether it is a healthcare center or a provider's healthcare, the staff may spend significant amount of time in manually entering and retrieving patient information from various systems. So basically, this is manual labor, right? And wherever there is manual labor associated, there is also associated cost weighted and also decreased productivity. So I think overall, it leads to patient may experience frustration, dissatisfaction with their healthcare experience, and the information gaps that happens due to this redundant paperwork, repeated medical history issues, and other things that erodes the patient trust and satisfaction in the healthcare system. So overall, it impacts all the pieces of the healthcare, that is whether it is a provider or a patient or any hospital entity.
Another question is like, what are the biggest challenges to implement interoperable IT systems on large scale?
So, healthcare system basically rely on different set of standards, protocol, and technologies, right? So it makes it very challenging to have a seamless interoperable operability across multiple systems. So one of the major aspect is bridging the gap that is between the coordination and standardization efforts. And many healthcare systems still they operate on outdated legacy system that were not designed with interoperability in mind. So integrating these legacy systems with a modern interoperable solution can be quite complex and costly. So that really requires a very careful planning and phased implementation in which they should be implemented. And one of the major aspect is obviously the financial and the resource constraints. So implementing the interoperable systems into an existing healthcare infrastructure, it definitely requires some kind of financial investment, and also it requires a staff training, integrating the system. And the most important aspect is that the workflow of the clinician should not be get disrupted, right? So suppose if this implementation are going on, the main aim should be to make sure that there's minimal disruption in the clinical workflows or the hospital workforce. So I think these are some of the biggest challenges that one needs to cater when they are trying to implement the interoperable solution into their system on a large scale.
So how can we address the challenges of the legacy IT system that are not designed for interoperability?
So one of the first thing that a team needs to do is that they need to have a strategic approach and careful planning. So there could be several steps involved. First is obviously identifying the standards, what standards we need to adopt. There are various interoperable standards like HL7, DICOM, IHE, and align with the industry best practices and regulatory requirements. Second is deploying a middleware or a integration platform that sits between the legacy and the modern system and facilitates the exchange of data and transition in the FHIR format. I think here Health Connect really comes into place so that we act as a integration platform that a legacy system can use to integrate with various HL7 FHIR standard, various EHRs. And one of the major challenges, or you can say aspects that need to be really catered, is the data migration. because the legacy system may have data in old formats and older standards. So one needs to be very careful in data migration and transformation. So there needs to be a very specific approach and strategy that how we are going to convert the data into FHIR formats, cleanse it, and process the data. And this approach should be incremental. So it should be not that we have, okay, we are going to implement all the solution at the same time. It should be in a phased manner. So it should be basically on a pilot basis, implement slowly and rather than start scaling up when you have positive impact from your current implementations.
So, what are the different standards and technology that are being used to promote interoperability?
So I think the most popular is obviously HL7 FHIR standard. So it is a modern healthcare interoperability standard that is designed to facilitate the exchange of data between various systems. It could be hospital, laboratory, or a diagnosis center. And on the heart of it is the FHIR. So basically, it is the RESTful API approach that standardizes the data formats, and it converts all the data from various hospital systems or laboratory system in a seamless way so that it is accessible by various platform applications that are being built on it. Another is DICOM. So it is widely used for exchanging medical images related informations within the healthcare environment. So basically, it could be data formats or communication mechanism for the medical images that the patient reports come from. So it could be X-ray image or any other kind of test processing of those information in a standard data formats. And there is also we have a smart on fire that is built on HL7 itself. So basically, it helps in developing web-based healthcare application that can securely access the information from various EHRs or various EMR system and access the patient data through FHIR APIs. So these are some of the, I would say, healthcare standards that one needs to implement in this modern age.
So, what are the potential cost saving associated with achieving interoperability?
So I think main aspect is that by eliminating the need for redundant test or procedures, interoperability can mainly reduce the healthcare expenses and any associated cost, whether it comes to the patient, insurers, or healthcare organization. So I think main aspect is that it automates and streamlines the administrative tasks like patient registration, billing, medical billing, and claim processes. So it brings an automation in this process. What it does is increases the operational efficiency and cost savings. And one of the key feature is that it helps in prevention of adverse events and medical errors. So sometimes there could be some medication error that could lead to readmission of the patient or any significant adverse event that could become very costly to the hospital. So by improving coordination and access to actual patient data, or in this case, updated or the latest patient data, interoperability can help in preventing costly medical errors and malpractice claims. And the last thing is that it increases or enhances the care coordination between the teams. So suppose there is a set of team that is looking after a patient and they have all the latest information available of that patient up to date data. So it also enhances the coordination and significantly improves the patient care. And if the patient care is significantly improved, it always reduces the manual work and saves the cost to the healthcare organization.
Got it, got it. So now there are like when we connect the system is connected, so there's so much of data we have, right? So when how interoperable systems support large scale clinician for research and data analysis?
So it basically enables the aggregation and integration of data from various sources. It could be electronic health record, laboratory system, imaging system, even wearable devices. So what health interoperability does is that it provides a standard to aggregate all the data. Once we have all the data aggregated in a standard data format and terminologies, we can use it for any clinical research, or researchers can combine this data and analyze from various systems to gain comprehensive insights into the patient healthcare or even the whole general healthcare trend of the population. And with interoperable system, they can gain real-time access to the data and what are the data exchanges happening between various devices or various system. And what this real-time exchange enables is that it increases the uh, sharing and collaboration among the researchers and clinicians. So basically, it provides a responsive research initiative so that they have all the data real time and they can share and understand what is the impact of data, analyze it. And apart from that, once we have a large set of data from the interoperable system, it also supports various clinical trials. So either it could be related to patient identification, eligibility screening, or any other clinical trials. So once you have all the data in standard format, it really helps in the monitoring of the clinical trials and evaluating the its outcome in real time.
So we were talking about the challenges that we have, when it comes to interoperable system. So what advice would you give to healthcare providers who are considering implementing this interoperable system?
So first is having a clear objective and goals, right? So what goal we want to achieve with implementing the interoperable systems. So once they have a defined goal and objective, it could be like improving care coordination, enhancing patient outcome, or even increasing their operational efficiency. So that is very important to set clear objectives. Once you have set the clear objectives, is the next step should be to engage the stakeholders. There could be various stakeholders in an organization, right? Healthcare organization. It could be clinician, administrators, IT staff, and patients. So getting inputs and feedback on what we are trying to achieve, what why we are trying to achieve is very important. And once you have these two pieces mapped out, now the other thing will be adopting the what standard we want to use. It could be HL7, DICOM, or other files. So what interoperable standards we want to integrate in our system. And one of the also main aspect is choosing the right partner or vendor to do this implementation, because it is a basically a make or break decision. If you have the right partner or right third party software that you are integrating, they should be very much very evaluated, and all the capabilities and compatibility should be first prejudged and mapped out, so that once the implementation is start, once the migration is start, there's such any hiccups or problem comes. And last is obviously the data migration, because this is the most important part. You do not want to lose any data in middle of the process. So there should be a clear strategy that how we are going to use the data, old data, map it and transform the data so that it could be used with the new interoperable system. And one of the main aspect is also invest in the staff training and support, because obviously it is a new system or new way of doing things, managing in a clinical workflow. So significant investment in staff training and helping them understand that what is the process, how the patient registration or patient information fetching from EHRs is done. So once they have all the good knowledge, then they will be very much able to use the interoperable system in a more efficient way. And last is obviously monitoring and evaluating the performance. So you also have to, as the time passes by, you have to monitor and evaluate that whatever goals we have set, are we reaching it or not? Do we need to make any changes? So these are all the, I think, important aspects that one needs to cater to when they are trying to do the interoperable exchange.
How can we strike balance between data sharing and patient privacy concerns in an interoperable system, as there's so much of data out there?
So I think this is one of the most important aspect of entire healthcare, that data is it is a patient data, right? Healthcare data, and it needs to be handled with very much care and security. So I think the first important aspect could be is setting up some robust governance policies or procedures to ensuring that the data is collected in a very responsible, in a secured manner, and defining clear role and responsibilities for whoever, whether it is a third party entity or it is a healthcare organization, how they are actually handling the data, implementing data access controls, and enforcing quality standards to protect patient privacy. And obviously, the main aspect is you need to adhere to the policies of the country or the place where you are doing this. So, for example, if you are in the US, you'd have to make sure that you take care of the HIPAA compliance, or whether if you are in the European Union, you need to make sure you are adhering to the GDPR regulation. So, these should be very much strictly and uh, I think should be followed very much strictly. And it should be ensured that all the interoperable system are adhering to this data protection, security, and consent management. And one of the major aspect is obviously obtaining the consent from the patient, because we are going to use their data. So the patient should be well informed that, okay, we are accessing your data, where it is going to be used, what are the risks or the benefits of your data sharing. So a patient should be very much at the center of this data sharing and privacy concerns, and they should be very much aware how their data is going to be utilized. Also, there should be some kind of, what I feel is options should be provided to the patient so they can control the scope and duration of the data. So it could be like that, okay, if I am sharing my data with any organization, they can only access this medication or diagnosis, this data from my entire medical history, or there should be duration, right? That suppose only after 6 months they have to delete my data, like that. And I think uh, it is very important to implement secure data exchange mechanism like encryption, digital signature, or any secure protocols to protect the patient data during the transit and the storage. And most important is that a patient should have access to their data whenever they want. Easy accessibility is the main goal of this entire data sharing and patient privacy.
How can we balance the need for standardization within the need of innovation in healthcare IT system?
So basically, the standardization provides a foundation for the interoperability, data exchange, and consistency in healthcare IT system. So it's very important to stabilize what standards you are going to implement to ensure the compatibility and interoperability with our existing systems. So one of the main aspects should be that there should be always a drive for innovation. So innovation drives what this innovation is, that it drives the progress and transformation in healthcare IT system. So it could be by introducing new technologies, new standard approaches, and solutions to having evolving clinical, operational, and business needs. And there also need to be flexibility in adopting the standards, because currently we have HL7 FHIR. There could be also multiple standards that a system can choose from. So balancing between the various standards is very important in terms of standardization. And I think last is that to create a interoperable ecosystem that fosters the collaboration, integration, and uh, innovation among various healthcare platforms. And one of the important aspect is that I think investment in education and training, because most of the people or hospital or clinician are still not aware of the innovations in healthcare sector that is going on. So there should be some kind of program or anything that really invest in educating the actual stakeholders. So once people are more educated or informed about what revolution or what innovation is happening, this will definitely lead to more further innovation in healthcare sector.
So, how will emerging technology like artificial intelligence impact the interoperability in healthcare?
So I think this is going to be a major game changer in healthcare, because healthcare is a place where we have a bunch of data, a lot of personal patient data. And what AI can do is it could facilitate the data integration and aggregation by harmonizing it from various sources and formats. And what machine learning algorithm can do, it can analyze and interpret the complex healthcare data, because understanding the healthcare data is not very easy to a normal person to make sense of it. It could be very complex terms. So there could be clinical notes, imaging studies, diagnostic report, or genomic sequences. So what AI or NLP can do is that they can process the data, extract the structured information that really makes sense to a person or a physician. And what it will do once they have all the structured information, it helps in making a clinical decision. So with the help of AI, suppose they have any X-ray or any document of any patient or any data or a historical data of that patient, it could be a blood pressure, sugar, or any data. What it could do, it could provide real-time insights or even preventive analytics that, okay, this is some risk or problem your patient might have in future. So at the heart of this is preventive analysis for the what problems could occur to the patient, to make sure that we know, okay, based on the data that we have, these are the likelihood of the problems or specific conditions that could happen in future. So we can start a preventive care from now itself. And I think one of the major aspect is already the analysis of the imaging documents. So it could be the deep learning algorithm that they can really help in analyzing the radiological images such as X-ray, MRIs and CT scans to detect the abnormalities that a normal person or a clinician cannot detect. So, and also quantify that what is the severity of this detection. So I think overall it is really going to be a partner or a support for the doctors to make very much good informed choices that really benefits the patient in a long run.
So, how can we ensure that the future of healthcare IT systems are designed with interoperability in mind from start?
I think first important is obviously incorporating the current and the existing frameworks, right? So once we start integrating the current fire standards into our existing solution, that will make sure that in future, whatever IT system or design, it will be designed around that, and the transformation or the exchange of data between those systems won't be any problem because we are already on a we are already using an interoperable system. Apart from that, I think one of the important aspect is obviously the invest in education and training, because once people are much more aware of the interoperability principles and practices that is among the healthcare professionals, it could really help in standardizing what way should they proceed to implement a solution. So suppose right now we have an interoperable system, then it could be built on HL7 or any other thing that we have. In future there is some other fire standard or some other standard. So once they have good knowledge of the existing solution, migrating to a new solution could be very much easy for them. So I think investing in the knowledge, and obviously um, the future starts from the present. So first they need to embrace what are the current technologies standards in healthcare and implement them into their solution. So this could really help them in future whenever new technology or any new standards come. That's great. It was really informative, and it was really good to interact with you. Thank you so much for this interview, and I hope you will be back with in this project management hero series. Sure, sure. Yeah. Thanks a lot for having me.